What's the difference between the old covenant and the new covenant? What the old covenant lacked was the provision and the empowering to fulfill what God had asked Israel to do in the Mosaic law. You see, the purpose of the law was to expose the inability of God's people to keep the law and to manifest the character of God. What was Israel's response to God's law, despite God's proclaimed intent? We will do it. You can count on us. They were set up for failure by God. God knew that the Jewish religion was just a preliminary stepping stone for the restoration of mankind in Jesus Christ. Some find it difficult to believe that God would set up a religious system like the Jewish law religion, knowing full well that the human beings were incapable of the kind of obedience that was required to keep the law and to experience his character. But that's exactly what an all-wise God had done for a fallen human race, because mankind needed the time to fully be convinced that their human performance, what we call works, which was actually inspired by Satan, was totally bankrupt, a dead-end street, and could never please God. You see, the message of the Old Covenant was, you don't have what it takes, keep looking. The new covenant of God is in the person of Jesus Christ, the good news. That we are given the provision to express the character of God in our behavior as we receive by faith his grace activity indwelling us by the Spirit of Christ. Everything that God desires of us is provided for us by the grace activity of Jesus Christ living within the Christian, empowered by his Spirit. We have what it takes in Jesus, the provision to experience life as God intended. And that's why Paul said in Ephesians 1:3 that God has blessed us with every spiritual blessing in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. And that's why Peter said in 2 Peter 1:3, his divine power has granted to us everything pertaining to life and godliness.